Decir?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about toddlers because we love the kids, right? We gotta love the kids. So this was, I'm going to talk about a study that was done by the Ohio State University where the professors or the people involved with the study wanted to find out a little bit more about how insecure or secure attachment to one's parents, how that influences our likelihood of being obese in the future. So there was a study done where young toddlers were being observed at the age of 2, and they wanted to see what their response was to different stressful situations. So they would make the toddlers a little upset, and their mothers were there accompanying them, and they would ask the mothers to try to soothe them and make them feel secure again. And they ranked whether the child was securely attached to their mother or insecurely attached, and that was just if with the interaction of being with the mother, if they were able to soothe themselves and calm down, and if they weren't able to, they were qualified as insecurely attached, and if they were able to, they were securely attached.
If the mother was able to comfort them.
Yeah, comfort them in a stressful situation. Or if they just became more frantic and cried, so they were looking at that response. And then they wanted to measure the body mass index of every child and to see if there was a correlation there. Because the study reveals that the part of the brain that controls stress also regulates food intake and appetite. Right. So if the children at a very young age didn't have a secure attachment to their mothers, if they felt like in a stressful situations their mothers weren't there to help them through, guide them through them and make them feel comfortable, be able to explore again, if they were they would become shy or stressed, that would affect that part of the brain, and later on in life, when it came to stressful situations, they would use food as a coping mechanism.
Yes, yeah. Actually, I read this study. I didn't know that that's the one that you were talking about, but it makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? That because they're the mothers, they're not able to relate to their mother, or they're not able to they have unresolved issues, find comfort with the mothers, that they resort to eating. You know what I mean, and therefore make them obese.
Yeah, and so these children who were insecurely attached to their mothers were 48% more likely to become obese by the age of 4.5, and the children were revisited at 4.5, and in fact there was higher obesity rates among the children that were insecurely attached to their mothers.
And of course, this gets carry on until you're an adult. You know what I mean?
Because you develop the way that you respond to stressful situations at a very young age, and that's in your home. If you feel like there's support and structure for you, if something, because I mean, people will experience stress regardless. Life isn't peachy. Things happen, but you develop those mechanisms as how you respond to stress at a very early age, and you learn that from your parents. If you feel like, okay, this is a stressful situation, but my parent is here and I can still relax and let it happen, and as opposed to if you don't have if your parents don't offer that for you and they just kind of feed in more into the stress, you develop other forms of trying to cope with it, and it's usually anger or depression or stress.
I wonder how therapy works for these type of people, you know what I mean? Because that are obese because of issues that they had and in the relationship that they have with their mothers, in specific, right? Because they talked about mothers.
It was specifically mothers.
Yeah, I wonder how that works, man. They probably make them go back to when you were a kid, and you know what I mean. And how do they start? Training them.
Yeah, especially when a lot of people suppress a lot of those experiences. If they did happen early on, even if you are going through therapy, a lot of people suppress that, to be able to cope and.
That's what I'm saying, like. That's why I think that a lot of these people that have not bypass surgery, I'm tripping. Gastric bypass surgery. There you go. Where they reduce the size of the stomach, and people drop. 50 pounds? 70 pounds in some cases. It might be even more. To be honest with you, I don't remember that well. But at the end, like those same people, after a few years, they start gaining the weight back. Because the problem is not
food intake.
Yeah, it's not food intake. It's the issues behind it, that are making the person eat more than what they want. It's finding that comfort in food.
Yeah. The article also talks about that it's not so much about the portion of meals or how healthy it is, but more just how it correlates to your brain and how you respond to stress that affects their weight at that age if they aren't securely attached to their mothers.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to be.
Thank you, Lily.
And I mean, it's important to think of. You know, you hear it all the time, but it really is like when you're young, like those early experiences really shape a child.
Yes,
you know, not having like a consistent parent there who's always there, you know, not having a stable home, not having a routine, especially with young children. It's very important to have a routine. Like, okay, we wake up and you eat breakfast and then you go to school, and at this time you have a bedtime, and you know, it's really important for them to feel stability in their life in order to, you know, have them feel safe. And
it's the foundation. The childhood is the foundation of your character, man. And like, it's really hard once you become an adult to change all of these feelings and those habits. You know what I mean? That's why it's, you know, for all the parents out there, man, like those are the very important years, man. When you have a baby, a son or a daughter, and they're still really young, those are the most important years, man. So power to all my parents out there.
Yes, it's a hard job.
Yes.
Somebody has to do it. Not us.
But don't mother them too much. You know what I mean? Don't be like, no, because that makes you too attached too. You know what I mean? And that's wrong as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's a balance.
Yeah.
You know, a balance. Well, thank you very much, Lily. Let's go back to the music and then we come back with another noticia.